Okay, so yeah, good evening to all our viewers who have logged into our channel to watch today's debate competition. Today, I will be moderating the two back-to-back debates that are going to take place this evening. We are all set to begin round one with round two and three coming your way on the 8th and 15th of August this month. So I have got two competitors alongside me for the first battle of JND's Battle of Perspective debate competition. I'd request both of them to turn their cameras on and their microphones on because we are live in Facebook. Am I audible, Abhiroop?
Yes, you are.
Asmita, I can't still see you. Can you please turn on your camera and microphone? Asmita. Okay, let Asmita turn her camera and microphone. Let me complete with the introduction first. So today's topic for this debate is parents should allow teenagers to take their own decisions. Battling it out by presenting their contrasting perspectives will be Ashmita Mondal, who will be speaking for the topic, and Avirup Majumdar, who will be speaking against the topic. Ashmita Mondal is a bachelor's student of computer science studying in St. Xavier's College, Park Street, Kolkata, and Avirup Majumdar is also the student of the same college pursuing masters in English. The debate has been divided into two equal parts of 15 minutes. In the first 15 minutes, both the participants will present their respective arguments, and in the second 15 minutes, we will go for the rebuttal where they will counter each other's arguments, and also we'll take 4 questions from the audience, two each for each participant. So if Ashmita is here, can we begin? Ashmita, are you here?
I believe Osmita can't get into the meeting, Chandradeep.
Student of computer. Okay, I guess she's having some technical glitch, so we'll wait a minute for her. Yes, Ashmita is here. I'm adding her to the stream. Ashmita, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Ashmita,
Am I
can you
audible?
just... yeah, you're audible, you're audible. We can also hear us. So, Ovirup and Ashmita, please turn on your cameras and we can start with it then. Yeah. Ovirup? Yes. So, to begin today's debate, as Ashmita is going for the topic, I will invite her to speak first. Please go ahead, Ashmita.
Okay, so before beginning, I would like to say that I am not a person who has an amazing stock of vocabulary to convince you with my speech. I will just explain you in simple terms what I believe. A young boy in his early 20s tries to cross the streets and he seems flabbergasted. I go to him and I ask, "Are you all right?" He says, "No, I'm just afraid of this heavy traffic." I say, "Isn't this quite common when you get out on the road?" He says, "Maybe, but I'm not used to this because this is the first time I'm traveling alone and it scares me." A few days ago, one of my friends comes to me with her outstanding painting. I say, "Wow, I see a future artist right there." She says, "This is my last. What is the point when I know that my parents are going to force me into studying medical?" Although I'm sitting here and narrating these incidents like a beautifully woven story, this is the reality, ladies and gentlemen. Reality which we all have faced, and reality which none of us wish to face. With this opening statement, I, Ashmita Mondal, stand strongly for the motion which states parents should allow children to take their own decisions. When I stand for the motion, let me tell you what will happen if they do not allow their teenagers to make their own decisions. To begin with, why don't we all get familiarized with a very famous phrase, Indian parents? I am sure all of you are aware of this. Often we have seen social media memes reels, and posts using this phrase in the most hilarious ways possible. So, how exactly are Indian parents portrayed in such platforms? The answer is very self evident. Parents who are possessive, parents who do not allow their kids to follow their dreams, expect them to behave in certain ways in certain situations, so on and so forth. I mean, today, if a child goes and says that he is suffering from depression, the obvious answer would be, depression, what is that? It did not even exist in our time. So I'm sure by now the image is quite clear to you. And this clarity is not rooting from anything positive. The portrayal of possessiveness and the fact that parents are not allowing teenagers to do what they want to do is always negative. And it should be, because such possessiveness might lead to disastrous events later in the person's life. What do I mean by disasters? Let me elaborate you in the form of a few points. Number one, sometimes parents become possessive about their children and try to shape them exactly how they want the child to be. This definitely includes the fact that they enforce their own decisions on their children. They forget about privacy, free will, and individuality. Their child is a different human being altogether for a reason, and trying to mold them to become what exactly you want them to be restrains them from gaining their full potential. You have often seen parents trying to project their own unfinished dreams in the form of their child's vision. Sentences like, I want to live my dream through my daughter. While this may sound very beautiful emotionally, it is not always satisfactory for the child. We have all witnessed instances where children give up on their own dreams just to follow what their parents say. Example, the movie Three Idiots, where Farhan had to face immense difficulty in trying to pursue photography because his father wanted him to do engineering. The statement should have rather been, I want my daughter to live her dream and not stop her just because I couldn't. The basic rights of choice should be given to any individual, irrespective of their ages. Number two, parents are not teenagers. They are way past that time period. So even though they have gained a lot of experience in their life, it all pertains to their own generation. Times change, and so does society. Teenagers will obviously have a different perspective of thinking, because the world they see through their own eyes, it is what the present world is all about. They are the ones who are living in the real present. They have to struggle with their own generation, and this struggle will not be in accordance to the standards of the previous one. Number three, even though my opponent might argue that they have lived longer to experience life more, I will definitely agree to it and say yes, they have. But does that mean that they are always perfect? Not every decision that parents might make might always be right. In these cases, the best practice would be to sit with your child and discuss openly the right and wrong, so that even the parents can gain knowledge from the decision that their child makes. When I say decision making, I do not mean that the parents has to enforce or the child gets the full right. Let the teenager take the decision and let the parents have a healthy influence on it. Number four, if every decision is spoon fed, teenagers will never get a chance to learn from their own mistakes. I know that parents will always try to protect them from the worst, but this will simply hamper their personality development. When children are asked to stay at home instead of socializing with new people, going out alone, or anything of that sort, they fail to understand the psychology of people and fail to know people. We all know the popular Bengali phrase Manush Chena. This takes a huge step back when they are not allowed that exposure. If teenagers are not allowed to see and experience the world, by the time they reach adulthood, their age might be something great, but their maturity would still be that of a novice. Number five, the more overprotective and dominant parents become, the harder is it for teenagers to build a bond with them. When they know that to every demand of theirs, the answer is always a no, communication would come to a halt. They will stop sharing anything and everything with their parents with the fear of getting penalized. This actually leads to a very hard truth. Teenagers begin to showcase rebellious behavior. They tend to get detached from their parents and try to do what is asked not to do. Now, when I say rebellion, it does not mean that the child is bad. It is just that they are trying to regain a sense of control on their own lives after suffering domination from their parents. There is a mountain of research that says that agency is one of the most important factors towards happiness and success. When I say the term agency, it basically means believing that we can influence our own lives and take responsibility for our own actions. Having said all these, I again believe that parents should allow teenagers to take their own decisions. And with this, I conclude my speech. Thank you.
Yes, Ashmita, but unfortunately, your opponent, I think, is facing some technical glitches. He has just gone out. So we'll just see. I'd like to inform our viewers that our opponent or our another participant, that is Abhiroop Mojumdar, is facing some technical glitches. He will be joining back in 1 minute. Please stay there.
Sir, moderator, was I audible?
Yes, you were audible. I think he also heard your full speech. After that, he, I think, exited the meeting because.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, Abhiroop is back here. I'll be just adding him. Yeah. Ashmita, if you turn on your camera, please. Yeah. And
Yeah, am I audible now?
yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, good evening. My connection went off. Very sorry. Anyhow, so today's topic says, first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Abhiroop Mojumdar from St. Xavier's, and I am given the chance to speak against the motion today. And should parents allow teenagers to take their own decisions? The first of all, we need to ponder on the thought that the time we are speaking about, the teenage time, it's a very vital time for the time when a child grows up. It's that adolescence period. It's a bridge between from one end to the other, and between that, there's a long gap. Okay, there's a huge. I can't call it a hiatus, but there is a huge gap between two phases from childhood to the adulthood. We call it young adults, right? We call the term young adults, but they are not adults yet. They are in the process, or they're in the act of becoming an adult. So while a person grows up, while a person is maturing, it is very necessary, it's very important for the person to have the able guidance. I'm not saying, see, when I am given the topic to speak against the motion, I need to always stand with the thought that parents must, try to improvise their thoughts, their own ways of thinking on the children. It's not like that. But the most important thing that we must keep in mind is that when a child is growing up, a child is inexperienced. It's not that all the adults who are taking the decisions are right, but at the same time, when a child grows up, the person, that small soul, if I take the term soul, is inexperienced in terms of the vast world that is concerned. There's a umpteenth amount of dangers, quote unquote, that lies ahead of that small, the small being. And in order to face that, in order to face the world, the difficulties of the world, quote unquote, the word guru comes in. In the Indian Shastras, the able guidance of a guru was responsible for the rearing up of even a king, the kings and the queens. In the end, Ram had his own guru. He had to go to the Gurukula to study. In the Mahabharata, we find the existence of Gurukuls, and the existence of Gurukul ensures that a child gets the right amount of guidance for becoming a better person, a better world. And speaking of the term allowing, when a person grows up, we can't always expect that that person will be made to, that person is made free in the world. If a child is made free, the person is not yet well aware of the difficulties that might come before him, and would obviously clip down his wings in the days to come, for which teachers reprimand. Previously, in quote unquote, our parents used to say in their era, it's not only for our parents, thousands and thousands of years back during the Egyptian civilization, the hieroglyphics, the ancient Egyptians have written about their coming generation that the children are very boisterous in nature, the child is unruly. So this problem remains with all the generations. It's not that only we are facing it, obviously, but we're facing it. But the thing is, the same problem, because the mentality doesn't match. But we have to also remember that if the mentality doesn't match, we can't have the equilibrium to go in a perfect manner, right? To maintain the equilibrium between the aged group and the younger one, we need some kind of synthesis going on, right? Without that, we can't expect a better way of communication between the father and the child, the mother and the child. When a father says, "My dear son, you can't text your friend after 12," the father means that the child should not hamper his own mental abilities, should devote a considerable amount of your time in your day texting the other person, whereas the person might need rest. I see, it's a very cliche example that I am giving you, but still at the same point, this is these days I find parents, they're saying, "My son continuously nibbles with the phone," and the first question comes that why did you give a phone to your son? But a father has left out there. He has to give his son a mobile or a cell to interact with the world. But the father has to also keep an eye that the child should not go into unruly manners, the child should not be made free enough that he, at the end of the day, he comes back home with a sad face and says, "Dad, I am sorry, I fell in trap of the world, I fell in trap, and I succumbed to the pressures, peer pressures." We call the students are there, and it's not about partying, quote unquote, right? The children they go out for parties, they go out for enjoyments. All they must do is to have a regulated way of living, which is extremely necessary for a good way of growing up. If you are free all the time, if schools didn't have timetables, if universities didn't have professors guiding you, how would a person become a person who is mature enough to guide his coming generation? One more point that I would want to convey is rationality. Children generally do not have rational thoughts. While I'm bringing up this thought of rationality, I mean that a person, obviously a small child, is not aware that what is right and what is wrong. The very basic of it. Okay, a person might feel that career decisions, choosing the right text to read, yes, we are free to read any text, but I believe few texts must be, shouldn't be availed by children that might kill their innocence. If my opponent might disagree to that, but at the same time, a child must grow up like a child and not with improvisations of the evil world. A father or a mother or a guardian must look into his upbringing in a manner that the child learns what is necessary for him, and not যেটা বাংলায় বলে উপলক্ষ, লক্ষ্যের থেকে উপলক্ষ বেশি। উপলক্ষটা যদি বেশি হয়ে যায়, if the other thoughts come in and barge into his regular day life, it might create a havoc for him. One more thing is that harsh consequences. Teenagers often I have my friends who had really bad consequences by going unruly. Yes, their parents try to control them. It's not controlling. It's about guiding them that, my son, what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And they turned out to be really in bad shape after following their pathways. I believe at those moments, if they have heard to their parents' words, they would have been in a better position today. One more thing to add is
Virup, I
becoming.
will just request you to hurry up because you have just 1 more minute. Please conclude
Yes,
what you want.
limiting times, creating restrictions. These are what parents do to ensure that your child grows up to be a better person, and not to crub or to clip down the wings of a child who would, in the further days to come, would fly with flying colors in whatever field he or she wants to go. And a father must be a loving one and a caring one. A father knows how to rear up his child. Nothing more. Thank you so much.
Okay, so that was two very enriching, sides. One that Asmita spoke about and one that Abhiroop spoke about. Now, I'll open this for rebuttal. You can now counter your opponent's arguments, and of course, I will open the house to the viewers also. They can also question. They are allotted. This participants will be allotted 2 questions each for and against. So you can just put the questions down in the chat box. And of course, the rebuttal session is open. It will be open till for 15 minutes. So it starts now. Please continue, Ashmita, with your counter arguments. Yeah.
Okay, so amazing speech, Abhiroop. So, like you've mentioned, the teenage phase is a bridge. What is a bridge? It's a connection between being a child and being an adult. What makes you think that facing the vast world, which has so much of dangers, like like you've told in your speech, what makes you think that facing this vast world becomes easier when he's not a teenager, if he's not allowed to face it during his teenage years?
See, Ashmita, I would like to say that meeting the world, okay, as a child growing up, yes, there are a lot of harassments a child goes through while growing up. But at the same time, when a person has once burnt his fingers, if I say in a very uncouth manner, the person will be, vigilant enough next time for not getting his fingers once again, burnt. So when a father and a mother sees that his or her child is facing some kind of difficulty, obviously the father can't be the father can't be like a figure standing with a stick or a cane in his hand, the yardstick, what we say, okay, and reprimand the child. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't go ahead of your laws, you can't do this, you can't break the laws. It's not meant to curb the child's development, but it's also meant to help him that he can, if he goes far behind, if he goes so ahead, there might be a time when the child faces a lot of depressing moments. What we see in America these days, okay, children having a lot of mental breakdowns by the age of 20. Can you imagine a child having a mental breakdown at the age of 20? It's very natural, but this natural thing isn't natural. A child must grow up like a child. This thought is very intrinsic, and it's often people quote this kind of thoughts, but this is meant for the betterment of the child and not to ensure that the child is getting some kind of, the child falls into some kind of falls prey to some kind of trouble in the days to come. And I meant when I say the word bridge, because when the innocence is destroyed, when the innocence of a child is shaken, he's open to the rodomontade or the vast the dangerous aspects of life. And at that time, that the child fails with his own intellectual capability, the teenager ought to read something, the teenager ought to fall back on something to create his own understanding. That is how even his father or his grandfather grew up. That's the natural way of growing up. That's what I feel.
Yes,
Am
Abhiroop,
I?
you are allowed.
Am I?
You are allowed.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, you're allowed to now counter question Ashmita, and vice versa. Ashmita can also put up her arguments again. Yeah.
Okay, Ashmita, I would like to ask you that if a child is made free, not child, if a teenager is made free, uh, if a person is at 15, 16 years of age, if a teenager is made free to have all his own decisions, if a teenager is made shackleless, boundless, do you feel that is it a right decision on the part of the parent to do so? And if so, why?
Thank you for the question. So, I would like to start by saying that free is a very big word. Let us focus on the word decision. There are three steps in doing something, anything. The first step is making a decision, the second is preparation, and the third is action. We are focusing on the very first phrase, which is decision. What parents can do is prepare their children to take such decisions rather than deciding it for them. We are all witnesses of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna never did what Arjun had to do. He simply guided him towards victory. So, this I am implementing the same logic here. The decision should be of the child, while parents should definitely influence. The topic here is parents should allow teenagers to take their own decision. The topic here is not parents must allow, because if that would have been so, I would have definitely gone against it. So I am focusing on the word should. The word should is very flexible, and it shows that it is a perfect balance between allowing the child to take a decision and parents still having influence. Like I said, three steps to doing something: decision, preparation, action. Let the decision be of the child. Whether or not it is right or wrong can always be influenced by the parent, and the plan of action is obviously with the help of the parent. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a wonderful answer. Thank you so much. Chandradeep?
So no more counter arguments and nothing more to clarify between you both. I think the viewers can also chip in with their arguments and questions. So if the viewers want, and if you both want to continue with your arguments, you can. There's still a bit of time left.
I'm done for it.
So it's very clear what you wanted to do. Let's just wait for 2 minutes and see if the audience have anything to ask for. And in the meantime, I will always, if you can just elaborate a little more on. First thing I'll ask Oshmita, like she already has clarified that she has chosen the topic because there was a word called should and not must, and she actually played with it, and that is quite nice of her. And Ovirup also has brought his counter arguments on point, kind of a very balanced debate that we have had here just a few moments ago. So I will just wait 1 minute, or await the decision of the judges for 1 minute, and I'll also see if this audience puts up any questions. Any questions from the audience or any questions from our viewers? You can put forward, please. In the meantime, we are awaiting the scores from the judges. And in the meantime, I'd like to inform our viewers that please don't go away, because we have another debate lined up that will be a debate on the topic called homework should be banned from being an essential part of learning. So we'll move over to this debate in just a few minutes. So I will just ask the audience and the viewers to actually stay with us, and we are awaiting the marks from the judges. And as soon as we get that, the two participants are already with me in the lobby section. And whenever we get the marks, we can actually just pull them into this thing. I'll also ask Kashmir and Abhiroop to wait for the results. Just a minute. It was a wonderful debate again. I say, and it's a great start to this thing. this debate competition that we have. It's a wonderful start actually, and like very healthy topic and very healthy debate. I thought there would be a kind of nuclear bombs thrown at each other, but it was not even a kind of Kali Puja bombs. So yeah, it was not even a Diwali bomb. We had a very kind of friendly kind of a debate, and yeah, good one. I'll just wait for 2 minutes. Okay, in the meantime, let me introduce to you the participants for the next debate. They are Soham Bhattacharya and Shubhadeep Mitra. Of course, Shubhadeep Mitra is going to talk about the topic or for the topic, and Soham Bhattacharya will be talking against the topic. And to actually give an introduction for them, it would be that Shubhadeep Mitra has actually completed his bachelor's degree from JIS College of Engineering in mechanical engineering, and Soham Bhattacharya has completed his bachelor's degree in biotechnology from Amity University, Kolkata. And we are actually looking forward to their debate. I'll just ask the viewers to wait, hold on. I'm just getting the marks. I'll just compile them and I'll be sending it over. We'll start the next debate from 8:35 sharp. 8:35 sharp. We have 3 minutes before that. I guess the audience doesn't have any question to the participants here. No questions from the audience. I'd like to have some questions from the audience also. Okay, so there are no questions from the audience. Very well. I'll just add this to the stream and we'll just wait a bit for 2 minutes more. Yeah. Okay, so I have just got the results from our judges, from very respected judges, and I might say that it was a very, very close battle, and it will be very unfair to choose a winner between Abhiroop and Asmita. But for this debate, for the sake of competition, I have to choose one. And although it is unfair, but yep, nothing can be done. So with 73 points, out of 90, Abhiroop Majumdar has lost to Asmita Mondol with 74 points. So it's just a difference of 1 point, just that it separated you all, and it was a damn close debate. And I'm looking forward to actually seeing you guys again on the 8th of August with another interesting debate. On 8th of August, the Facebook post will actually make our viewers aware of who will debate whom and on what topic, and the post will be made on Saturday. So stay tuned. That is on 7th of August. So stay tuned to our page, and I'll thank Asmita and Abhiroop for having such a healthy debate here. Thank you so much, Asmita and Abhiroop.
Congratulations, Sushmita, and it was a wonderful time I had discussing such a wonderful topic. And yes, I do accept, the child must have a free will. I accept that. But
at the end of the debate, Abhiroop does. Yeah, that's good.
We all have to accept that. Okay, we all are free people in a free world. Anyway, let's meet in another round. Anyway, bye.
Congratulations to you too. It was an honor debating with you. You're my senior. It was tough, but thank you so much for giving me.
Thank you so much to you too.
Okay, yeah. So I'm just going to add Soham and Shubhadeep to the stream. Yeah. So we have got with us Soham Bhattacharya and Shubhadeep Mitra for our second round of debate. The topic for this debate will be homework should be banned from being an essential part of learning. So we have got that. And can we start? Yes, Shubhadeep and Soham, can you turn on your cameras and microphones, and can we start it? Yeah.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, but you are not visible.
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
are visible and audible. Shubhadeep is also visible and audible. And I will just start with it. And so going for the topic will be Shubhadeep Mitra, and I will just ask him to start. Yeah, Shubhadeep.
Yeah, okay, so let me first introduce myself. My name is Shubhadeep Mitra, as was introduced by our moderator. And so I apologize in pre-terms as I might fumble a few times. So So let's start about the topic. Our topic today is homework should be banned or it shouldn't be. I am for the topic because homework, when I say I was busy right now doing homework, now it is work that is presented by my company, but it's homework. So sometimes when students do homework, it adds unnecessary stress to students, and this can distract students on the main topics that they need to learn. So, a study by a scholar, Denise Pope at Stanford, revealed that out of 4,300 students at high performance schools, 60% considered or stated that homework is a primary source of stress. And stress is a problematic word in this present scenario. As we are standing in this pandemic situation, we can see that everything that a student does is from his home. So if we are doing classwork, if we are doing in school, everything that we do is a homework. So it is unnecessary to provide us more homeworks regarding to this topic. So homework takes away from the revision time. And the main thing is the revision time. If we are coming with an exam, suppose we have an exam a few days later, and but we have been given a lot of homework. But is that necessary during that time? Do we have the time to revise all the chapters that we have earlier studied? We don't have, because we need to finish the homework so as to satisfy our teachers. uh, it's basically forcing students to go home after a stressful day of school and activities and do pointless homework. Teachers should be teaching these things in class and not making the students learn it themselves. If I tell you simply, the teacher teaches us in school 6 problems, where he or she gives us a homework of 10 problems in which we have 5 doubts. Then what is the progress? There's no progress in there. So in simple words, homework is not necessary. I would not say, I am saying this regarding the present scenario, because everything we are currently doing is homework, and an extra lot of that homework might give us too much problems, too much tensions. And for a child, for a teenager, we have to maintain their sleep cycle, because the sleep cycle um, gives a good advantage in our studies. So many students don't have an easy life. Now if I have to talk about easy life, everyone here is from middle class family. So but someone who's not from that background, someone who's thriving in his life to achieve something, uh, just think about, if he is provided with a huge assignment of 100 pages or maybe 50 pages, he has to go to the home, go home and then present it. But he needs to fight for his life now. So, in conclusion, that I believe that homework should be banned from school. I believe this because homework just adds unnecessary stress to the students. Students are doing it when they are tired after a long day of school. It's a hectic day of school. We know that every school day is hectic because that long hour sessions and every period after period, and then we are presented with the homeworks, is just tires us too much. So it much probably uses our more valuable time to learn extracurricular activities, and it doesn't allow us to enjoy our time, our leisure time mainly. So after you, Soham.
Yes,
Okay, we have
thank you so
heard
much.
the argument from Shubhadeep Mitra, and it was quite a well phrased argument. And now I will invite Soham to speak his arguments for against the topic.
Yes, thank you. I heard a lot of compelling statements. I'll start with my regular introduction. To be ready for tomorrow's opportunity, you need to do your homework today. Learn, refine your skills, and focus on growth. This 18-worded quote, hence stated, gives us a brief essence of the term homework. The mere definition of homework is that it is an assignment given to a pupil that has to be completed in a particular time from the confines of our home. But the uh, deeper meaning of homework does appear more brighter in the broader spectrum of our life. Good evening to one and all present here. Today, I, Soham Bhattacharya from MIT University, Kolkata. Sanjay already introduced me. will be speaking against the motion of whether homework should be banned from being an essential part of learning. And this is the word I want to focus on, not educational institution, from learning. Just in the first debate, there was should made a very big difference. This learning is going to make a very big difference. From the moment a child is born, it is up to him to grow up to be a Messiah like Jesus or a Satan like Judas. The child has to learn skills that help him not only to survive but also evolve in his throughout his life. Some skills are housekeeping, which do not need to be practiced, for they are the most mundane of our daily activities and we get better at them with time. The other kind is the one which has to be earned through religious pursuit and vigorous practice. These skills require a great deal of determination, focus, time management, and most importantly, the will to succeed. To be the best that there was, is, and hopefully will be, you need to do your homework. To be the best version of yourself every single day, you need to be doing your homework. To have that satisfaction that at the end of the day, everything, after trying everything, after giving out your best, nothing is working for you. To get that satisfaction, you need to be doing your homework. The point I'm trying to make here, or trying to get across, is that when I said by a broader meaning in the spectrum of life, is that to be committed in self development and self evolution is to do your homework. Not to startle anybody, but to just showcase the kind of hypocrisy that my honorable and worthy opponent faces at this very moment. He too, while setting this condescending tone about this topic, had to do his homework. To speak based on talent, there are three kinds of people. There is the talented, the hardworking, and most importantly, and I use this term in the most prerogative of sense, please, case code when now against it, the not so bright. Now, as they leave their educational institutions and go on in their journey of life, we sometimes do find that the talented sometimes fail to fulfill their true potential. The hardworking sometimes may or may not, but sometimes they do exceed their potential. And the most successful people are the ones who have flunked in college or who were dubbed and snubbed as not so bright. Not so bright students like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and Mark Zuckerberg are some of the most influential or were the influential people that the world has ever seen. Then the question arises, how did they fail in their academic life? Was it due to homework? The answer is, no, is quite simple. They were not concerned with homework that wasn't theirs to do. Clinical and cognitive psychology clearly states that the best way to be better at a particular task is to. Am I being audible? Hello?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, sorry. I just, I think I lost. Okay, no problem. To be the to get better at each and every task, you need to do your homework, or you have to do your task repeatedly. When you do a task for the first time, it's a kind of beginner's luck, a kind of puppy love. But as time progresses, the child has to understand that to fight boredom, you have to practice or to do your homework. General McRaven was a four-star general. Now he's dean in University of Santa Cruz, I think. He is the man responsible for the capture of Saddam Hussein and the raid in Abbottabad that killed Osama bin Laden. He gave a very famous speech in the University of Texas, and what he said was that each and every day wake up with a task completed. This task, in fact, is the hurdle one has to face each and every single day. One has to bear. That's just life. In other words, they have to do their homework. Life is harder and unfair. It is especially difficult when you are sad, for you are not truly connected with the things you are most passionate about. But to refuse to do homework in terms of education, not educational institution, and learning, is to give up hope of living, to give up hope on a better life, to improve your skills. It's like saying that I do not accept that after C++ I will not learn Java, or I will not learn what's the name, Python. I will not learn that. What I've learned, that's enough for me. To Say that I will not do my homework is to always say that I am stagnant and I'm not ready to change with time. Once you are in union with your true passion, you will realize that once that beginner's luck phase, there is nothing poetic about it. You will have to be dynamic, for there is nothing romantic about it. If you become successful, there will be people who will sing romantic songs, write romantic poems about you. But even if without success, if you nurture these values, you will be a human. I quote the Norwegian education system. It's the most efficient, and Norway is the happiest country according to the United Nations Index, the most happiest country. In that particular institution, children have to do homework. Yes, I agree that 3 hours or the points that have been stated before, to get an easy life, unnecessary stress, teachers should be teaching in school in spite instead of telling the students to complete their syllabus in terms of homework. That is absolutely wrong, no doubt about it. But to say that I will not do homework is always to resist to change. And we all know that to resist the change is to resist the very nature of life. Institution or no institution, you will need to be willing to work hard, be persistent, and do your homework. I refuse to believe that the education and learning has to be synonymous with schools and colleges. Our parents are our first teachers, and the most of our soft skills that we acquire is acquired from them, or most of our soft skill that we have acquired is from outside our school premises. So though the context of homework in terms of educational institution is evidently debatable, homework and learning are indeed synonymous and inseparable. That's my argument.
Quite a elongated and a long phrased argument, a well put argument. Now I will open this house for questions from the audience. For the next 15 minutes, the audience can post 2 questions each for the participants. The top two will be chosen, and they can do it for the next 15 minutes starting now. I will also open it for the rebuttal session where Shubhadeep and Soham can go up against each other and counter their arguments. So, Shubhadeep, I'll get over to you. You can start with your counter arguments.
Yeah. So as my just opponent told us about the rigorous practice. So my question is, can you tell me, is practice and homework are the same things?
Well, you see, let's look at it in a different manner. Suppose there are students who are talented and hardworking, but there are students who are talented but lazy. Now counter the point. How do you get people who are lazy who will study just before exams? What's that noise? Yeah. How do you counter that point? You can say, fine, homework, they are create unnecessary states. If you give balanced homework, then how can you say that, okay, I accept the unnecessary states if you're giving too much of homework. Your argument for that was that uh, uh, you said that teachers teach 6 problems and they give 10 as homework. But you have to understand that when they teach those 6 questions, I'm speaking in a broader manner, sometimes they give the same type of sums as homework. They have taught a particular sum and they give the same type of homework. You can't always spoon feed everybody. They have to learn to do something on their own. So everything can't be in a controlled environment. They have to be willing to be in a vulnerable space. That's only how they will learn. I have a question, Chandrida.
Yes.
Yeah, my question to you is, you said at the ending about sleep cycle, and you said about easy life. You talked about that, yes, unnecessary burden is being created when you talk about sleep cycle. Students are not getting sleep; they're confined to the walls of their home. And you talked about an easy life. Give me one person who has become successful being in their comfort zone. Give me example of one person.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I will ask you to repeat your question, the last part, please.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I am asking you that the nature of success is that you have to come out of your comfort zone. You have to fail. If you're not failing, you're not learning. Give me example of one person who has become enormously successful, courtesy not having a big bank account of their forefathers. Give me an example of a person, a self-made millionaire or a billionaire, who has had an easy life.
Well, let me first tell you about that. As per your question, so I will just like to add that. Do you think that homework makes us successful in our life? I don't think so, because I get your question, but I told you that I might fumble a bit because I get under pressure. So
Yeah, yeah, it's fine.
so so as per your question, if I need to answer that, then I will say that, um, well, I might not know any successful people who is not out of his comfort zone, because uh, the homework is not a mark which defines our comfort zone. A man who's studying, a woman or a man who's studying rigorously doesn't mean he needs to be in a homework practice. He needs to do his homework just to be out of his comfort zone. His comfort
No,
zone, he needs to get out of his comfort zone just to be in practice and homework are a different thing. I just asked you the question previously. Practice and homework are a different thing. So we need to hone our skills through rigorous training, not by giving loads and loads of assignments. Do you think giving us 15 assignments, in our engineering terms, giving us 15 assignments every year, every semester, will make us successful, or help us to get out of our comfort zone?
well, that depends on whether you have found your true passion or not. But yes, the question was that, do you think homework leads to success? Homework has been evidently shown to be the mark of improvement. If you give a homework for the first time, the child fails. There is a point of being a social development with their parents. If they fail for the first time, they'll go. There is a kind of interaction with their parents. There is a kind of mutual acceptance that the father and both the parents and the child have to go through. And this shows, homework indirectly shows that what the school is teaching. If no homework would have been given, how the students would have or the parents would have known what's going in the school? First, not a it's not a complete argument, but you said, does homework lead to success? What was your question, the first question you asked? Would you repeat it, please?
Yeah, you told about skills, so I said that the difference between skills and homework, are those the same thing or
Practice and
different
homework, yeah,
things?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
practice and homework.
Yeah, look, you have to think about it in this manner. There are people who are talented. I mixed it up in the first answer. You have to think, there are people who are talented but they are not hardworking. How do you get them to do hard working? You have to put incentives in them. I don't think for the after kindergarten, where you put starts for just try, it will go on to do great things. In order to pursue them and to get them accustomed to the reality of life, you yourself has just said in the introduction that you were working in computer. If you wouldn't have been trained not in the subject but in time management, I'm talking about values, about focus, about dedication, about constantly handling this stress while you are in college, would you have been able to stay in your job for 3 months, especially more importantly in this pandemic?
Well, you told me about time management, right? You told me about
Yeah,
time management. Just think about
yeah,
in this scenario, or our school days. We have a school from 10 to 5. Okay. After that,
yeah,
every single child, starting from the KG1, the elementary peoples have tuitions too.
right.
So, if we are provided with the homework, if we are provided with constant assignments or constant homework, then how will we manage the time?
Well,
Do we have only time for studies?
then answer me this: why do the students need tuition? I'm answering it. First, there might be the students are not satisfied, the parents are not satisfied with the kind of education that the school provides, or second, that the teacher does not teach. Let us be absolutely open. Then the school system has to have the wisdom to say, okay, this teacher is not performing, he has to go. knock him out of the to defenestrate somebody. That has to be done. You can't blame a system just because people are wrong. Second, why do we need tuition? If a child is getting a proper guaranteed education from school, what is the necessity to go to a separate tuition?
Let me clear my point. That the point was not of tuition. I needed the question was that how
Yeah,
will you manage
yeah,
the
question.
time regarding this all things? Leave the tuition. Leave the tuition.
No, my
Suppose
argument is the tuition. No, you don't get it. My argument is the
no
tuition.
no.
Why should people who learn, there is a proper education system, suppose the teacher teaches
If
properly,
you leave
why
if
do
you leave the
parents have to
tuition,
pay? Then
if you leave the tuition out
you
of the
can't.
topic, just tell me
If
if you leave the topic out. You just let me finish. If you
yes,
just
please.
leave tuition out of this topic, we have the teenagers or the childs have many curriculum activities. Okay, they
Colleges
need
as
to
well,
grow
yes,
their cultural things also.
right.
They need to grow their cultural things also. They need to utilize the leisure time. Okay, so how will we manage that time if you are given a load of work?
The
How can
answer
we?
is very, if the teachers teach properly in school, that parents must have the wisdom to say that okay, we don't need to change. I have to talk about tuition because you can't study a system in a static manner. You have to study a system, a society in a dynamic manner. You can't say that leave tuition out because it is part of the problem. You can't expect a child. I agree that you can't expect a child to do 3 hours of homework and do 4 hours of tuition, come back and do the homework of the tuition and go back early in the morning. Think about it. What is more important, school or tuition? Tuition is there to aid a child in the schools. If a school is teaching, and each and every school clearly states in their curriculum that they despise parents allowing their students to go for tuition. Think about it in this manner. If such is the problem, the schools give a particular homework, they can learn and they can do the homework, they can self study. And most importantly, you talk about time management. The answer is very simple. If and that's a very big if the teacher is teaching properly in school, don't send your children to tuition in order to just show off like look, your student is not in tuition. I have example of many students in my batch, in some of my senior batches. People who did not go to tuition have done brilliantly in their boards and pre-boards just with the help of their teachers. It's just a disloyalty kind of thing between the parents and the teachers. That's one point. And second thing about time management, that's where I come. Just if you see the Olympics, you will see people are complaining. People or in the general masses, we see that in school curriculum, sports should be increased. In school curriculum, there would be more opportunities for children to pursue their extracurricular activities. In order to do that, how do you explain that like homework, not homework, let's talk in particular about sports. A child, after doing its school, you said about 5 o'clock your school used to get over, you could have gone to play. If you would have been good in a particular sport, you would have pursued. Unfortunately, you I don't know courtesy of whom, you had to go to tuition. You suffered both in terms of lacking behind in school and behind in terms of academics of the tuition. The problem is you have to understand that there should be
Well, you define tuition. Let me get to your point. You define tuition as something to aid the students after school, right? You said
right.
aiding the students. So let
But
me tell
if
you.
there is not
But
necessity,
if
what is the point? If there is
there
not a
is
necessity, why are you sending them?
there, my point is, will there be a necessity? That's a different thing. But if you think none, some of our parents are not capable of making their child understand about the homework, right? If you are given a homework, suppose we have to self study. You said about self
Right.
study and you have to learn
Yes.
ourselves. Okay,
Mhm.
so suppose we need help. We went to our parents for the help, but our parents are not capable of doing that. Now
Right.
from that point, where we need to go? Now you tell me, where can we go? Shall we go back
Go.
with the homework to the school? Sir, I have a
If,
problem with your homework that you have given me.
yeah, I mean, why? Why not? If you
The school
have problem
system,
and you're sincere enough, yes, the school system,
the school
you have to
system doesn't
understand that
work
there
like
should
that.
be. No, you have to understand that in school system there is a part where teachers are actively imparting knowledge, but in school system there should be a part where the students are allowed to think, allowed to ask questions. That is evidently lacking, no doubt about it. But you just can't blame that you're giving homework, not necessarily that they're giving too much homework. Who are we to judge how much homework is too much or too less? Just based on time. What is the value of that? We have to understand the value of the homework, isn't it? If this particular assignment holds a great value, how will you say that it's like hopeless assignments or otherwise?
Yeah, I understand that the assignments might hold a great value, but the assignments
Great
need to be
value in terms
understand.
of value, not in terms of school
the
education, like he is
the
getting 8 out
assignments
of 10.
need
It is
the
making
main
them
thing is
prepare.
that
The taste
the
of fire
main
makes the finest of steel.
when we are given an assignment, it is thought that we have understood the topic. What if we haven't understood the topic in the school? You have
Then,
told us about the school system. You
right,
have already
then why
told us
didn't you
about the
ask
school
questions?
system.
Why didn't you ask questions when you had doubt and you did not understand? Why didn't you ask the teacher? That's the basic answer. I mean,
Well, if someone has given me an assignment, will I work
again,
on that or just fight on that how to get solutions
see,
from the
this is the
teacher?
point. This is the point. You said, has any? You talked about has anybody come out of their? I talked about how anybody has come out of the comfort zone and achieved anything. This is the point. You have to come out of the comfort zone instead of creating a defense mechanism around yourself, and you will mix it up. You have to stand up. You have to take responsibility
Yeah,
of your
yeah, I
questions and
understand
your
your point. I
curiosity.
understand your point. You are saying that we have to stand up on the things that we haven't
You
understand,
have doubts.
or
You
it
have
might
doubts.
take.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have doubts. So
Mm-hmm.
I cannot understand the topic. I need time to understand. So where will I
Right.
get the time to understand? The tuitions are just provided, as you just said, to aid the students, and the tuitions is a place in our teenage years. We have helped the tuition teachers have helped us regarding our homeworks. So the thing
Much
is
more
that,
than that, but sure, go on.
yeah,
Continue small.
like that
Okay,
only.
I need to actually stop both of you because we are running out of time, and I think I have got the crux of your argument. So Home is trying to argue that there is a need of homework, and because to assess the children's progress, I think that is his point that he's going to put forward through his argument, and Shubhadeep counters with the actually the legit problem of Indian school system and the need to take tuitions and do double homeworks and kinds of all these things. I understand. I think our audience has also got the point across. But there are two questions for Soham that I'm going to from the audience that are going to put forward. I
Oh
think
yeah, please.
it's yeah. I think it's showing here is homework and self study the same thing according to you.
Well, the question here is the relation between self-study and homework. I think the essence of this question is whether this particular task has to be completed on the basis that it has been given by an authority or an institution, or are we doing it by ourselves? The question is, if a student doesn't have the wisdom or is lazy to see the wisdom in not doing this particular task, suppose a teacher teaches a particular topic, a good student will read that topic will furthermore so that he get ahead in class. But for those students who are talented enough but are lazy enough, they will not do that. In order to get them to study, I think homework works out. And second, and the most important point is, let's look at, and we know, I used to get freaked out about a term called surprise test. Think about it. You come to school, suddenly you are given a topic which a teacher has taught you. It's completely out of a sight, out of mind. If a student is good, he's continuously practicing, I accept practicing, then he will automatically do best in that surprise test. But if there is no provision of homework, how do you think a person who's not studying, who is not compelled to do his homework, will be able to scribble something out? No chances.
Okay, I think
I have I have
I
another
think our
question.
viewers have got what you wanted to see, what you wanted to put forward. Okay, I also have question for Shubhadeep, and that is from Asmita. Please get it on screen. Yeah, its question is my question to Shubhadeep. You said in your speech that what's the point of homework when student might face five doubts in that as well? Don't you think that's the very point of homework, to have doubts, to clarify and learn something new?
That's a great question. As I said, as I already described it about the school system, if we have already got a five doubts in our homework, that means that we have not understood the topic. I think Soham will agree on that. That we have not understood the topic at all. So how we need to clarify those things, and can't learn new things on just self practice or self study. We need to get help, because asking for a help is not a shame. So but we
Absolutely not.
can't get help. Yeah, so we can get the help from the teachers that are giving us the problems, because that's not how our school system works. We need to ask for help from our parents, maybe from our friends, maybe.
We both are
So
agreeing on the point that there needs to be a major change in the education system.
yeah,
That's we
yeah,
both can
that's
say.
that's true. Yeah.
That's true.
When we
That's
talk
out of
about
the topic,
education,
but still we agree.
Yeah.
when we talk about education system, I think Ashmita has one question to Soham also. We'll see that
Yes, please.
question. The
Yeah.
question says, my question to Soham Finland is the country with the most rates of educational success, and the country has banned homework. What do you have to say about that?
Well, when I talked about Finland, you have to understand that they did not ban homework. The homework I talk about is that they go home and they do their homework. They call it assignments, and they don't need so much of time. That's like in my introduction, I said that though there needs to be a proper balance, and I know my honorable opponent will agree that there needs to be a balance of how much homework is given to a student for a proper development. I have seen a documentary on Finland. They said that they do 15 minutes of homework each day. That's next to negligible, and that's why if you look at Google, they say that they banned homework. They actually did not ban homework. They have homework, but 15 minutes of the day it's so negligible. So it shows that it's not the time that counts; it's the effort and the quality that is being implemented that says more, speaks louder than words.
Okay, one more question we have, and that is to Shubhadeep. It is by Aditi Sharkar. She asks, don't you think homework keeps a child motivated to do tasks and perform well in the class, Shubhadeep?
Yeah, I understand your question, but as from my opponent's point, doesn't self-study does the same effect? Self-study
It
does the
does.
same effect, and homework and self-study are not the same, as I've just told. But
Mhm.
self-study and practicing hones our skills, and it makes us perform well in the class, not just homework.
That's my point. You speak for, I
Yeah,
speak against.
yeah, I know that, but my point is that homework is not a necessity to hone your skills. That's the thing, na. It's self-study and homework are a whole lot of different things.
What's the difference between a
Homework
self-study and a homework?
homework is a thing that we need to, that has a deadline. We need to present it
Right,
tomorrow.
right,
Okay, self-study is when we need to do it, we are doing it for ourselves, not to present it to somebody, right?
right. But don't you think that self-study sometimes leads to procrastination?
Yeah, I think so. But self-study often gives us a way to find our weak spots and the strong point. We need to work on them, and nobody will judge on it. Like if we do some wrongs in the homework, a teacher will judge us that you have not done the homework properly. But in self-study, is there someone to judge us? There's no one.
Okay. Yeah, I can understand the point, but we'll just put up one more comment that is here by Sarthak Bodhakutta. He says, see, there are assignments that hold certain importance, but it's very evident that most of them are just for marks evaluation and doesn't hold any particular value. Moreover, Soham says about homework in the wider perspective. What is his view on homework from the point of view of school and secondary level of education in the country?
Okay, in terms of second school and like institution wise, you have to understand that like I talk about, um, first You have to understand what is homework. I talked about broader perspective, but in this case, it's an act of doing something in the deadline. It helps you, forces you to do something against your will, helps you to develop your own skills, helps you to understand the topic in more detail, and asks. And if you are curious enough to know more, you can go and learn more. It is this pressure, because the test of fire makes the finest of steel. This pressure actually helps these young adults to be more successful in life, helps them to be more proper in time management, helps them more focused. There are other things as well, and makes them more determined.
Okay, so we have just come the end of our debate today, and it was a very healthy debate. And actually, we got to learn so much from your debates that Soham put forward and from the points that Shubhadeep put forward. It was a particularly very important debate, and homeworks are actually it's actually adding stress, but it's also necessary. And you have to just balance it out with everything, everyday life that is going on, and I think that's, and not only students, homework are also a part of office goers, and the teachers even do their own homeworks. They have to do their homeworks to go out and teach the students, and everyone is connected. It's a part and parcel of our life, and just the way that we take them in a different ways. We can call them assignments, we can call them self study. We can just actually change a bit from here and there, and we can just make new forms of it. So basically, at the end of this debate, I think it was a wonderful debate. Thank you to the viewers for staying till now. We'll just wait for the marks of Subhadip and Soham, and I'll also thank the viewers for giving us such a wonderful questioning the participants here. I'll also like to inform the viewers that we'll have two more debate rounds, one on 8th and one on 15th of August, before the final is held on 22nd of August. Stay with us. The debate posters and the links will be posted in our Facebook and Instagram page, so that you can actually know when the debate is and what topic it is. And of course, come back to us with your questions and interact with our participants, and hopefully we'll have such wonderful debates in the near future. Just awaiting the marks from everyone, marks from the judges actually. So we'll just wait for the marks. And again, the first debate that we had, that Asmita and Abhiroop carried out, that was the debate on parents should allow teenagers to take their own decisions. They were quite excellent in their own rights, and it was a very narrow margin that Asmita won, 74 to 73. And now we'll see where we are, where Shubhadeep and Soham is. This is also a very close fought debate, and this is quite amazing that we have got to very close for debate, to very knowledgeable and profound speakers speaking here in our Facebook live stream. And we are also going to have debates with them in the near future. I think for the next round we'll have Asmita take on Soham and Abhiroop take on Shubhadeep, and that will be again a wonderful session that will be on 8th, again starting at 8 p.m. So please don't miss those. I'll request our viewers to be there on that day and support us, and we are very pleased to have you guys here. And just that it's
I
again
can't
first time.
see how many people are there in the watching us right now. I can't see it from here.
Right now we have 11 people watching us. It was 13, 16, 18 some moments ago. So we had that kind of audience here. Not much audience. First time we are doing it in JND, and I hope we'll have much more audience in the later stage.
Like, share, and subscribe. Oh, sorry, Facebook. Don't
Yeah.
subscribe.
The one
Maybe
more
you can
thing,
subscribe.
if you want to actually, if you want the recording of this debate, it will be available to you from tomorrow onwards in our YouTube, Facebook, and Insta channel. You can go through it. You can collect your points from there if you want. And I sincerely thank Soham and.
It's a pleasure, and I just want to say to Shubhadeep that I think he's senior to me. It was a pleasure debating you, and it was really an honor. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the pleasure is all mine. Soham, it was great debating with you, and you might find it amusing that Chandradeep Roy is my old partner from my school, my old debate partner.
We used to debate actually.
Yeah.
Don't talk about the topics you used to debate. Those are not relevant. You can't say them out loud here. Please don't talk about
Okay,
them.
so Yeah, so we have got the marks with us, and to the audience, I'd like to inform them that the winner of today's debate, although it was a close fought debate, the winner of the debate today is Soham, who scores 72.5 points. And with 66.5 points, Shubhadeep Mitra just misses the cut. And hopefully, and yeah,
Congratulations, Soham.
congratulations to Soham.
Thank you,
And
man.
hopefully, we have two healthy debates on next Sunday, that is on 8th of August. Stay tuned with us, and you will find all the tools necessary in our page updated by Saturday. That is on 7th of August. You will get all the necessary details updated about the topics and who are the speakers, who are speaking for. So yeah, see you in the next day. Thank you guys for
Thank you.
joining me,
Thank
joining
you.
us, and taking part in
Okay,
this debate.
take care, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you to our viewers for staying with us till the end and seeing this video and seeing this debate. Hope to get you in the next part also, in the next Sunday also. Thank you so much.